On November 19th, 2019, Zach and Tori Roloff welcomed their second child into the world, a baby girl. They named her Lilah Ray Roloff. She arrived after their son Jackson, born 2.5 years earlier. She arrived as the third Roloff grandchild to come into the Matt and Amy Roloff line, and she arrived, like her brother and her father before her, with achondroplasia, the genetic condition that defines so much of the Roloff family identity. From the moment Lilah opened her eyes, the Roloff family knew her life would involve all the medical considerations that came with achondroplasia: the orthopedic monitoring, the potential for hydrocephalus, the careful watching for related complications. But what they did not know, what nobody knew yet, was that Lilah had something else going on too. Something visible, something noticeable, something that in the weeks after her birth became more and more obvious to her parents. Lilah's eyes did not always line up. Sometimes one of her eyes drifted inward, particularly her right eye. Sometimes she appeared to be looking in two different directions at once. The condition has a name, strabismus. The common term for it is crossed eyes. And it is, as Tori Roloff would later joke with gentle affection, what made her daughter the family's crossed-eyed beauty queen. Tonight on LPBW Update, we are walking through the full Lilah Roloff story: the day she was born, the diagnosis of her achondroplasia, the discovery of her strabismus, the first pair of glasses at 11 months old, the years of eye patches and follow-up appointments and treatment adjustments, the medical scare during her infancy that brought Tori to tears, the possibility of corrective surgery that still hangs over her future, and the way Lilah, throughout all of it, has become one of the brightest and most beloved little personalities in the entire Roloff family. Because Lilah is not just a Roloff grandchild dealing with two medical conditions. She is, in her own quiet way, one of the bravest little kids in the family, and her story deserves to be told properly. Let us start with the birth itself. Lilah arrived on November 19th, 2019 in Oregon. She was Zach and Tori's second child, joining her older brother Jackson, who was then 2.5 years old. Like Jackson, Lilah's diagnosis of achondroplasia was suspected before her birth based on prenatal ultrasounds. The Roloff family had been through this once before with Jackson. They knew what to expect. They had access to all the medical knowledge and support that came with being one of the most well-known little person families in the country. And when Lilah was born, the diagnosis was confirmed. She had achondroplasia, just like her father and her older brother. The Roloff family celebrated. Tori posted on Instagram about her sweet baby girl. Zach was a proud second-time father. Amy was a proud grandmother of 3. The early weeks of Lilah's life were filled with the kind of joy and exhaustion that any newborn brings to a family. But within months of her birth, Tori began to notice something specific about her daughter's eyes. They did not always look straight ahead. When Lilah focused on something, one of her eyes, particularly her right eye, would drift inward. The first instinct of any new parent is to worry, then to consult professionals. Tori took Lilah to the doctor. The doctor referred her to an eye specialist. The eye specialist made the diagnosis. Lilah had strabismus. The condition is caused by poor muscle control in the eyes, which prevents the two eyes from working together to focus on a single point. The strabismus, the doctors explained, was likely something Lilah had been born with. It had simply taken time for her parents to notice it. The good news, the doctor said, was that despite the misalignment, Lilah's actual vision was excellent. In fact, better than 20/20. Her eyes could see perfectly. They just needed help working together. The treatment recommendations were clear. Lilah would need glasses. She might need an eye patch. And if those treatments did not adequately correct the problem during her early years, she might eventually need surgery. In October and November of 2020, when Lilah was just under 1 year old, Tori took her to the eye doctor for her first pair of glasses. The first frames were pink, soft, and rubber-coated, designed to be comfortable on an infant's face and durable enough to survive the inevitable toddler abuse they would receive. Tori posted the first photos to Instagram in early November of 2020. Her caption was honest and emotional. "Sweet Lila Bean," she wrote. "Girlsy got herself some new accessories. Sweet girl has what is called strabismus. Basically, she is cross-eyed. She has had it since birth, and we have always joked that she is our cross-eyed beauty queen." Tori went on to explain that Lila's vision was actually better than 20/20, but that they were trying glasses to hopefully fix her lazy eye and avoid surgery. She acknowledged that there had been a lot of mixed emotions, mostly from her, not from Lilah. She wrote that they had put the glasses on Lilah for the first time, and Lilah seemed relatively unbothered by them. It was going to take Tori a minute to get used to seeing her sweet bean behind glasses, but she was warming up to them as she typed. The post ended with Tori saying she loved her sweet, crossed-eyed beauty queen. The reaction from fans was immediate and overwhelming. Hundreds of comments poured in. Other parents shared photos of their own children in glasses. Other parents of kids with strabismus offered encouragement and advice. The Roloff fan community, which had been with the family through Zach's medical journey, Jackson's surgeries, and now Lilah's eye condition, showed up in force. They told Tori she was a great mom. They told her Lilah looked adorable. They told her the glasses would not be the end of the world, that millions of children wear glasses, and that Lilah would grow up to be just fine. The love for Lilah, especially in those tiny pink glasses, was immediate and intense. Tori, who had been struggling with her own emotional response to the diagnosis, slowly began to embrace what was happening. The glasses became part of Lilah's identity. The crossed-eyed beauty queen became one of the most affectionate nicknames in the entire Roloff family. Over the next several months, Lilah's treatment expanded beyond just the glasses. Eye patches were introduced. The patches were worn for about an hour a day, covering Lilah's stronger left eye and forcing her weaker right eye to work harder. This is a standard treatment for strabismus in young children, designed to strengthen the muscles in the affected eye and help the brain develop better visual coordination. Lilah, by all accounts, took to the patches with the same calm acceptance she had shown for the glasses. She wore them. She did her time. She moved on with her day. Tori posted updates on Instagram throughout the process, showing Lilah in various patch and glasses combinations. The fans continued to be charmed. Lilah continued to grow, and the eye condition, while still a fact of life, became increasingly manageable. In addition to her strabismus journey, Lilah dealt with a major medical scare during her infancy that brought her mother to tears on national television. In the fall of 2020, when Lilah was just under a year old, she became sick with what initially seemed like a stomach bug. She was vomiting. She was in pain. She was uncomfortable. Tori, who has always been hyper-aware of medical issues because of the family history of dwarfism-related complications, became deeply worried. She told Zach she was concerned about her daughter. She told Zach Lilah had thrown up multiple times the previous day. She told Zach she did not look at Lilah and say she was fine. She looked at her and saw that something was wrong. Tori broke down in tears, on camera, explaining her fear. The fear was specifically that Lilah might have hydrocephalus, the buildup of cerebrospinal fluid that had nearly killed Zach as a child, and that was a known complication of achondroplasia. Tori said in one particularly emotional moment that hydrocephalus scared the hell out of her. She told Matt, her father-in-law, that Zach had almost died from RSV as a child, and that her immediate fear had been that her own child was going to die. As it turned out, Lilah did have RSV, the respiratory syncytial virus, along with the flu. The diagnosis was treatable. The doctors helped Lilah recover. The crisis passed. But the moment had been real. Tori had genuinely feared losing her daughter. And the Roloff family fan base, which had watched the scene unfold on television, was reminded again of the medical complexities that come with raising children with achondroplasia. Every illness has the potential to be more serious. Every symptom is monitored more carefully. Every doctor visit carries more weight. In July of 2021, Tori shared a positive update from one of Lilah's regular eye appointments. The ophthalmologist had told her that everything was going well. Lilah was responding to the glasses and patches. The strabismus was improving. The recommendation was to keep doing exactly what they were doing. The hope at that point was that with continued treatment, Lilah might not need the surgical correction that some children with strabismus eventually require. That update was a moment of relief for the family. The treatment was working. The vigilance was paying off. Lilah was on a good path. But then, just under a year later, in June of 2022, Tori shared a more sobering update. She confirmed publicly in a series of comments and posts that Lilah would likely still need eye surgery at some point. The glasses and patches had helped, but they had not fully corrected the condition. The previously scheduled surgery had been postponed because Lilah's eyes had been improving with the conservative treatment. But the improvement, while real, had plateaued. The minor surgery to correct the lazy eye remained an option that would likely need to be exercised down the road. Tori did not give a specific timeline. She did not share extensive medical details. She simply confirmed what the family had been preparing for. Surgery was probably in Lilah's future. As of this recording in 2026, Lilah is 6 years old. She continues to wear glasses. She continues to do her treatment. The eye condition is, by every visible measure, stable. Whether the corrective surgery will happen in 2026, in 2027, or beyond, is something only her parents and her doctors know. What we do know is that Lilah is a happy, active, well-loved little girl who is navigating 2 medical conditions with grace and good humor. She is short, like her family. She wears glasses, sometimes patches. She plays, she runs, she laughs. She loves her brothers Jackson and Josiah. She is, in every meaningful sense, just a kid. And that, for Tori and Zach, has always been the goal. To raise their daughter as just a kid who happens to have certain medical realities, rather than as a medical case study that happens to also be a kid. Lilah has also, over the years, become one of the most photogenic and beloved Roloff grandchildren. She has a sweet, gentle personality that comes through in every photo Tori shares. She has been the flower girl at family events. She has worn many adorable outfits. She has appeared in countless social media posts. She has, in many ways, become the unofficial face of the next generation of Roloff girls. Given that Molly Roloff has no children and Jeremy and Audrey only have one daughter, Ember, with their other 3 children being boys. Lilah occupies a special place in the family as the only granddaughter from Zach and Tori, and as the daughter of the only Roloff sibling who has continued to be visible on the show. That visibility has made her one of the most recognizable Roloff grandchildren, even though she is only 6 years old. The role that Lilah plays in the broader Roloff family story is, in some ways, similar to the role her older brother Jackson plays. She is one of the reasons the family has reason to come together. She is one of the reasons Matt Roloff has prioritized rebuilding his relationship with his children and grandchildren. The famous August 9th, 2025 photo of Matt at Lilah's sporting event with Amy and Chris was, in many ways, about Lilah, about making sure she had her grandparents at her event, about modeling for her, even at her young age, what a unified family can look like. About showing her that she was loved by everyone, no matter what tensions existed between the adults. Lilah was, in that moment, the catalyst that brought everyone together. The grandchildren, in the broader Roloff story, have been the engine of healing, and Lilah has been a key part of that engine. Looking forward, the future for Lilah Roloff includes more eye doctor appointments, possible surgery, ongoing medical monitoring for her achondroplasia, the continued joys of growing up with 2 brothers, and the unique experience of being a Roloff grandchild in a post-LPBW world. She will not, by all current indications, grow up on television the way her father did. Her parents have made the decision to step back from the show and give their children more privacy. Lilah will get to be a regular kid, in a regular community, going to a regular school. The medical realities of her life will be more private than Jackson's were during the years he appeared on LPBW. The dignity that her parents are choosing to give her, by not making her medical journey a public spectacle on cable television, is one of the most loving choices they could possibly make for her. Tori has, throughout Lilah's life, shared updates that have informed and educated other parents in similar situations. But the decision to step back from the show means that future medical chapters in Lilah's life will be shared on Instagram or Raising Heights, on her parents' terms, rather than on a TLC production schedule. That is, by every measure, a healthier way to grow up. What can we, as fans, take away from Lilah Roloff's story? A few things. First, that the medical realities of childhood are often more complex than they appear on the surface. Lilah's strabismus was not visible immediately at birth. It became apparent over time. The treatment has been ongoing. The future is still uncertain. That kind of complexity is, in fact, what most childhood medical journeys look like. There is rarely a clean diagnosis, followed by a clean treatment, followed by a clean resolution. Real life involves uncertainty. Real life involves adjustments. Real life involves parents doing their best with the information they have and accepting that some things will be revealed only with time. Tori and Zach have been remarkably honest about this. They have shared their fears. They have shared their uncertainties. They have shared their hopes. And in doing so, they have helped other parents understand that they are not alone in dealing with similar uncertainties. Second, we can learn from how the Roloff family has approached Lilah's identity. She is not the kid with strabismus. She is not the dwarf with glasses. She is Lilah. Lilah is the totality. The medical conditions are aspects, not definitions. The fact that her parents have framed it this way for her, from the very beginning, has shaped how she relates to her own body. She seems, by every visible measure, to be a child who is not anxious about her conditions. She wears her glasses. She does her patches. She accepts the doctor visits. She does not seem to see herself as broken or limited or different in any negative sense. She just sees herself as Lilah. And that secure identity is the gift her parents have given her. It will serve her for the rest of her life. So I want to know what you think. Have your children ever worn glasses at a young age? And how did your family adjust to the change? Do you think Tori and Zach have done a good job balancing transparency about Lilah's medical journey with protecting her privacy? And do you have a favorite Lilah Roloff moment from her years in the LPBW spotlight? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one and I love hearing from you. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, subscribe to LPBW Update, and ring the bell so you do not miss our weekly Roloff family stories. We are committed to bringing you the truth, the timeline, and the heart of every member of this remarkable family. I will see you on the next one.